Hey there, Outliers. It's good to be in the space with you here today. My name is Niiamah Ashong, and welcome to the Outliers Edge podcast. Today, we have an opportunity to spend time with Sharon Ruff, and I'm really, really, really excited for where the conversation goes. Sharon, why don't you give Outliers a chance to get to know you, get to know more about the game that you play, and then we're just going to have an emerging conversation about like the outlier edge that you live.
Okay, awesome. Well, first of all, thank you so much for considering me to be on the podcast with you. I am grateful for that. So thank you so much. But I am Sharon Ruff, also known as Shay Ruff on the IFL podcast. I started my podcasting journey during the pandemic while we all were exploring different things. And so I did it for 365 days. And it
Mhm.
turned out to be one of my biggest accomplishments. I've learned a lot during the podcasting scene, but also I've been an entrepreneur pretty much all my life, but really took myself seriously 7 years ago. I have a firm called The Planner Consulting. We do graphic design, web design, as well as business planning. So far as helping new entrepreneurs start their business without fear, because we all have the fear of starting and we also have the fear of money, because when you think about being in business, you're like, I need money, I need funding, I need all of these things. And so my firm takes pride in helping new entrepreneurs start with what they have already and getting them launched to go ahead and move forward with their dreams.
Nice. Well, I'm glad that you're here, Shannon. One of the things I get about you, you say like it's like planner consultant, but what I get about you is like a certain level of confidence. And the confidence that I have is not like and like an external like bravado kind of confidence, but it's a high level of self-trust
Yeah.
and self-ownership that's there. And I appreciate being in space with you. I'm excited to get to know you. I'm excited for Outliers to get to know you as well. But
Thank
I want
you.
to make sure I state that as we get into our conversation.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So like take me here right now. Like we call this outliers edge. I'm curious in which ways like you look at yourself and like in your business as like as a potential outlier. And just so you know that it's a made up term. Like I don't have like a like dictionary definition. I have my ways of describing it, but like in what ways would you consider yourself an outlier and how do you bring that out in the business that you have right now?
So outlier and then also being on the edge. Entrepreneurship is edge. Like if you ever started something and you're trusting your way through, you're constantly on the edge of something new, right? So starting me being an outlier in my business is like you said, self-trust. Right. So I have to trust and have some type of confidence in myself, because if people don't see my confidence, then I can't want them to be confident in the work that I'm doing, right? So the number one thing that I want to always make sure of so far as being an outlier is that I'm personable, that I am approachable, and I'm always open to learning. So being in graphic design, first of all, even starting my firm, in graphic design, in web design, I did not go to school for graphic design. I do not have a graphic design degree. What happened was my husband and I, we were getting married in 2014. We hired a graphic designer to do a couple of things for us. She kind of disappeared on us, and
Mm,
I got really upset, and my anger turned into a business pretty much.
mm,
So I went from just doing fun graphics at church to people actually paying me for it. And I was like, wow, this is weird. I have an accounting background. So starting in graphic design, I was not confident just because I'm very big on education. I'm big on certifications and stuff like that. And so I just let God and let my hands go to work and go from there. So being an outlier and constantly on edge, especially in entrepreneurship, like it's always something new. It's a daily recharge. It's a daily lesson. And so seeing myself also in leadership as well, like if you don't take chances and if you don't take the risk on yourself, you can't expect anyone else to do it. So that's my pep talk for
yeah,
every
no,
day.
this is great. This is great. I'd like thank you for this. Yeah, I can feel that coming through. You know, you said um that you didn't have like that original confidence in it. That you're like used to getting certifications and things like that. How did you navigate that for yourself? Because I'm sure there's outliers right now that are like, yeah, but like, who would trust me? Like all that. And I used to do. I like you do the accountant. I was a retirement actuarial consultant, so I had to take a lot of like exams, and I know about being credentialed. Like, and I say very specifically, retirement actuarial consultant. Why? Because I did not. I was an exam or two away from actually getting the credentials, and I'm like, I know what it takes to get it. So let me give them theirs, you know.
Right.
But yeah, so tell me about that because like, how did you navigate that?
It was and still is a journey, right? As I Even though I've been in full-time business for 7 years, it's still a journey. I had to get over the fact that I am talented. Like I had to accept that, right? So accepting talent, coming from a background and coming from a family where education is just like pounded into us, I had to get over that. So that was kind of like a roadblock, like bondage, pretty much. That's the best way I could put it. So I was bonded to the fact of education instead of accepting my talent. And so, and there's of course there's I'm gonna throw scripture in here. There's scripture that says your talents will make room for you, right? And so I had to really like digest that because my dream was to be with a top accounting firm as soon as I graduated from college and all of this great stuff, right? Just climbing the ladder, the corporate ladder, and all of that. And as soon as I graduated from college, the recession happened in 2008 and the economy crashed. And so even though I was the last one hired, but the first one laid off. So I was laid off for almost 2 years. So I really had to pivot and figure some things out. So that's when I really started realizing the things that I'm doing in my business now, I was already doing. I was just doing it for somebody else in a different capacity. And so that's when my confidence started to kick in. I went through a coaching session, and the coach made us do what she called a brag binder, where you brag on yourself pretty much. And so I was like, first of all, I'm not comfortable with doing that because I consider myself to be a humble person. I cheerlead for everybody else, but when it comes to me, I'm like, I don't know about that. So, but sitting with that brag binder really forced me to look at, okay, I'm more than accounting. I'm more than actuary. I'm more than auditing. I'm more than tax preparation and all of that. And so I was like, I've been doing this stuff. I've been a creative for years. I've been a problem solver for years. And so I started reminding myself, okay, you did it over here. Now let's just change the scenery and do it over here. Right. So that was the other thing too, breaking out of the corporate mentality of you get to this place, you get to that place, excuse me, and having like this individual development plan. And so the individual development plan that I had at my last employer, I just took that and implemented that into my business. Where do I see myself? Even though nobody's applauding for me and cheering me on, how are we going to get to this? What is a milestone? What's our next goal? What's all of these things, right? And I have a really good, the other key part is having like a really good circle. You don't need a lot of people. If you have one or two good people that can remind you of who you are and get you through those moments, it makes it easier. So that helped me too, because my husband was like, you can actually do this. I don't understand why you're struggling with this. It's just that I had to change my mind into, you can do this for your business and you can actually help more people versus being behind a desk and on someone's clock. So that's that.
Yeah. Do you mind if we like explore that just a bit here and
Yeah,
like
go
flavor that?
ahead.
Yeah. So like I'll talk to outliers here. Like one of the things that's really like striking me, Sharon, as you're speaking is it's something I call like it's like the transcending of you, like the translating what you have done and saying, okay, it's not to like I had a specific context in which I did it beforehand, but it also works in other contexts.
It does.
Yeah, like and like it's interesting because this is the first year, 2024 at the time it's recording is the first year that I've really allowed. Oh, actually, no, it was 2023, but it's the first year I've allowed math into my world. Coming even as proudly as I'm like a retirement actuarial consultant, I'm like I'm like, I don't want people to know I know how to use Excel. I still have met fewer, like very few people to know like how to out navigate Excel on me, you know?
Yeah.
And so like I hear this element of translating those experiences and outliers. If any of you are out there thinking, hey, I'm gonna start something new or I guess I think about it myself with how much I wanted to leave that world behind when something new came into my space here. For you, I think that it was more unexpected for you. It wasn't like I want to be an entrepreneur right now. It was just like turns out I got a business because I had to like handle all this myself.
Pretty much. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty much what it was. I had to, because let's be honest,
Mhm.
unemployment is like pocket change,
Yeah.
right? So I still have rent, I still have lights, I still have water and car note, car insurance, and all of these things. And I had to really be creative because the other issue that I was having was my resume looked amazing, but people were like, we don't have enough to pay you, or
Yeah.
you're overqualified, that type of thing. So I'm like, why do I keep hitting these roadblocks? And I'm seeing other people get jobs, right? Left and right. And I'm like, what is happening? I've done all this work. I have the degrees, I have the certifications and all of these things. Like, why is this not working? And so I just on a fluke was like, you know what? I'm gonna start a tax service. And so I haven't. My mom used to do paper taxes. She used to write it out in a notebook and then put it on an actual pink and white form and send it out for people. So I've been learning how to do taxes since I was 16. Started
Mm.
that I did my taxes and I had background certifications from like the major tax companies and everything. And so started that tax business and it became a thing. Like next thing I know that my client's job at a table, they worked in a restaurant. And so she was like, I can't take off, but can you do my taxes? So I brought my laptop, brought like a mini printer to
Mhm.
print her paperwork out and everything. And as I'm doing that, people walking by like, you do taxes? Great. So that was my first official before I started my planner consulting. That was my first official like taste into entrepreneurship. And so I was doing the taxes, sitting at the table at the restaurant, and that became a mobile tax service. And I realized the money that I made from January through April actually carried me for another year and a half
Mm.
until I was able to secure employment. And so, again, it goes back to that mindset of you were already doing it here. You can bring that organization skills, mindset, all of that from the corporate world into your business. Yes, I was backed into a corner. I definitely was backed into a corner. But what I learned was I was like, man, I really can do this. And even though I didn't last long with the mobile tax service because the moment I got a job, I took off running and was like, I need this job, I need this, I need that. And then getting to 7 years ago, the career that I had at the time, that company got shut down. So I'm back at the same thing again. So it was full circle, like, okay, don't miss your moment at this point. And so I understand entrepreneurship is not for everyone, but it actually was my portion. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna run. And so that's exactly what I did because I already had done it. And then I had to think about it being in high school. Um, my little brother just thought it was a good idea to take my mom's Sam's card. Sam's Club is this big wholesale place or whatever. Buy the big bars of candy, bags of chips, and sell it at school. So I was doing that in high school. We were selling plates on Fridays because nobody wanted school lunch or whatever. So I just had to be reminded, going back to the brag binder, I had to be reminded that you have the skills to do this. You can actually apply all of this stuff to your business. So even though I was backed into a corner, I had to really figure something out. And I knew that it couldn't be temporary. I knew it had to be something that would carry me through, not just financially, but also give me a future, as well. So that's where that portion came from.
Yeah, I love this here in Outliers. Like one of the things that's running out for me is like you have the skills to do this, and like,
Yeah.
yeah, that like there's just something that comes to me where it's like My language is, oh, I was already ready. You know, I just didn't know. I just didn't know, but like, I didn't need to do all that. I was already ready. Whoops. Okay, now let's go in. You know,
Yeah.
what was it like for like your family members and such when you went down this route here? Because I'm getting the sense that yeah, I see your race on that one, but I get the sense that you were pretty clear and that you were going down a certain path.
So my family supports me, right?
Yeah.
They know that I'm capable and
Yes.
I've been capable for quite some time, right? But because entrepreneurship is new to everybody in my family, it was like, are you crazy? Why would you why would you not go get a job? Why would you not go back to getting your benefits? Why would you not go back to all of those things, right? And I had to sit for a moment and be like, maybe I am crazy because I do need dental, I do need
Mhm.
medical, I need all of these things, right? And so I was thinking at first that I couldn't get these things on my own until I got connected to business groups and chamber of commerce groups and things like that, where they actually had insurance people that was teaching us how to have benefits as entrepreneurs, as solopreneurs, and things like that. But my family was looking at me like, I don't know how this is gonna go. I'm scared that you're going to struggle. And they still had my back, but they still was like, I think you should go get a job. I think you
Yes.
need to go back to it. And of course, just like with anything starting out, it starts off slow. And so my first year of business was really rough because I can say it now that I was between confidence, I was between acceptance, and I also was in between money because I realized that my all these years that I was doing what I needed to do just to get by for the moment, going to college. Okay, I need to work 3 jobs right now just to get through this, just to get through that. I'm originally from New Orleans, but I moved to Atlanta at the age of 17. No family, no friends, completely by myself. So it's a lot of the hustle, if that makes sense. Just hustling one job to the next job to the next job to the next job, and whatever is flexible enough for me to finish school and all of this other stuff. And so I had a hustler's mentality. And so coming into entrepreneurship, I was trying to apply that to it. And to an extent, it worked, but it also was my Achilles heel. Because if the
Interesting.
money wasn't coming fast enough, then I was ready to quit. Like I was ready to move on to something else. And that's not what was meant. But all in all, with my family, at first they were like, I don't know, but now they're like, oh my God, I can't believe you did it. So now there were no entrepreneurs in my family. I became one, and so now it's four of us.
Nice.
So
Nice.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Well, I really want to acknowledge you on that there, and you know, I talk about outliers. I don't always use this like part of the definition, but I say they're often one of the first, one of the only, or one of a kind in what they're doing. You know,
wow,
yeah. And so I see you here, like so you created a path here where it's like now there's other family members that y'all can talk. You can build off it. They know that there's like there's quote unquote success that can come from it. Like you can live a life, have
yeah.
your benefits, all that. Um, I just want to acknowledge you for like paving that way and
Thank
and creating
you,
that for yourself in that way and opening up things for others as well.
thank you, thank
Yeah,
you.
no, yeah, it's not no small deal. I graduated right when the recession happened as well, so like I know that time it just wasn't great,
It
just
was
wasn't great.
horrible.
Yeah. So let's go to how things are now with you, right? And I think Sharon, we have an opportunity to look into this and ask some questions from like the standpoint of like, all right, what happens like when you are more solid, and you're seeing the business be successful, and like, what are the kind of challenges you're facing right now? Because I recognize for me, I don't mean for this to happen with Outliers Edge, but we get into things that feel like, hey, what happens when you're just getting started? And for me, I'm like, whenever you step up to a level, or you play another bigger game, there's another variation of just getting started, and so I can translate that. over, but I want to make it a little bit more like explicit for Outliers. So why don't you tell us about like how your business is right now, and then like some of the ways that you keep leveling up, and we'll just kind of explore from there. You good with that?
Yeah, yeah. So um I had to come to a realization of I can't do everything by myself. So initially starting out, I was a solopreneur and I was very adamant about being the only person in my business, right? And so what I realized was I never had the thought process of building a team. So right now, 7 years later, I have somewhat of a team, but not at the
Nice.
capacity that it can be at because I didn't have that mindset. What happened was the the growth that I was looking for came really fast. And I was like, oh snap, I can't do it by myself. I cannot do it by myself. So now that is like my number one thing. Talking to new entrepreneurs, like, I know you're starting out, but I need you to think about having a team. I need you to think about having an administrative assistant if you need one, an additional person that does what you do, or something like that, because that was not my mindset. My mindset was, I started this is mine, I'm going to do it as much as I can. And I didn't understand collaboration, if that makes sense. Like what we're doing now is really awesome because you can speak to my audience, I can speak to your audience, we can build a community, right? I never thought about collaboration. All I thought about was I have this business. I can't let it go under. I'm going to work as hard as I know how to work.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that I am dealing with now, 7 years later, is working with a team and then also streamlining what this business looks like 7 years from now.
Yeah.
And so I want to personally step out of the forefront of my business and not be so front facing, if that makes
Yes.
sense, and
Yeah.
actually put other people in place that will still deliver the same service, that will still deliver all of the things that I've grown my business into, because now I want to do more development. I want to do more collaboration. I want to do more training, certifications, things like that. And I
Mhm.
also want to be able to do more like this of collaborating with other entrepreneurs and other affiliations, establishments, and then also get into a different space in a different industry. So that's something that I did not think about a team. So that's what I'm working on now and working on what my business is like 7 years from now. And it's okay to plan for the future. Some people may think like 7 years from now, I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow or next week, but it's easy to have a plan in place so you have something to follow. Now, the name of my business is the Planner Consulting. And the reason why I call it the Planner Consulting is because naturally I'm a planner. I plan everything down to my snacks, my socks, like everything, right?
About the snacks, like in my mind, I'm like, you could have let the snacks go. I'm a non-planner in many different ways, right? But keep going. I'm like the snacks. Keep going.
Yeah,
Sure.
listen, I
I
can't
didn't know that was gonna hit
comprehend.
me so hard.
Listen, I can't comprehend anything without snacks. Every meeting that I have include, if we're meeting face to face, snack. I need snack and I need water. I need something. But that's the reason why I call it that the planner consulting, the planner, because naturally I'm a planner. But and I did have a business plan. My business plan just didn't include the team. It included the revenue, it included the forecasting, it included the marketing and all of that, but it never included the team. It always was me. And I also, as a parent, didn't want to take my dream business and force it on my children to say, you have to keep this legacy going. It's not their dream. And my children are extremely different. So one may be on Broadway, another may be in engineering. And so that has nothing to do with what I'm doing. And so if they decide that they want to take the business and keep it going, that there'll be a plan in place for them. But I didn't want to be one of those parents that forced them into what consider is the family business.
Yes.
So
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought this in here because like it's something I often think about when it comes to like coaching and working with people and such. See where I'm like, all right, there are the component of how do I say it? It's like what do the challenges look like at different levels? And a lot of times it's like once you're good, it's like, all right, well now I have to bring other people in it. And they're not going to be as good as you, right? And they don't have 7 years worth of experience doing all the things, all even going all the way back to selling candy bars in school, right?
Right,
So like, and they definitely don't do it your way, you know. So it's like,
right,
so there's, I get that there's a lot involved in my background. After I left the retirement actuarial consultant world, I went into learning development and culture. So like I'm all
nice.
in on people and teams. I actually came into this thing like being like I need a team immediately, you know, like because like my skill set is not in the doing, it's in the leading or an influence, I should say. And this is the first year that I'm going now, 7 years in, and being like, oh, I need to actually do this myself, don't I? Like this is a part of this that I just need to do for a while. But like
Yeah.
I know I'm gonna get a team again as soon as like we pass through this place here. So I think it's really wonderful. And I'm glad that you're bringing these things in. I'm glad you're bringing these things in because I feel that oftentimes there's an element of like how does this play out in the real world, you know? And I'm glad that you're at the place where we talk about having better problems here, you know. So I'm glad that you're in a place where it's like, all right, we're good on the money, we know where our clients are coming from. I know all that here. Turns out I have a new problem, which is like got to get other people to help me do this thing now, you know?
Right.
And like just like you build all these other skills, like what's fun for me is I'm like, all right, one day it's gonna click. You'd be like, oh, I've been building team for like decades, you know? And so, but I feel you on that. I feel you on it. Look, Sharon, we're coming up to the end of our time here together, and first, you just know that I really appreciate you. It's been a great conversation, and I am very much looking forward to how things continue to evolve for you and evolve for us over time. I like your energy is really it's solid. So like,
Thank
and I
you.
appreciate that. Um, let's do this here as we end up wrapping things up here, and Allies, I'm going to come to you first because I like to do this. Um, it was great being able to just be in this conversation with Sharon, and she shared her experiences, shared the way that she looked at the Lord, shared like her current challenges. And like there'll be times when we get a chance to explore that even more at some point. Allies, my invitation to you is to find one person in your world who like might be one of the first in their world to go and
Mhm.
pursue entrepreneurship, or who might have to translate some skills because their backs up against a corner and they're like, how do I do this? And just share this episode with them. Let them be a part of. Let them have a partner through Sharon here, and allow them to be a part of this conversation. My answer is you just find one person and send it to them with intention. Look, I'll never stop you or say don't share it on social or on some of your larger platforms. Go ahead and do that. But I feel like sometimes that just goes out into the wind. If you can talk to one person and make a difference for them, I would rather us play that way. All right. And who knows, you might
Yeah.
be one of the people that someone thought about you. And somebody has to just keep paying it forward. All right. Sharon, basically at time here, and how I like to end my conversations with people is I feel like outliers have gotten what they need to get. I'll give you space if there's anything else you want to say to them directly. Is there anything that you want to say directly to outliers? Otherwise, I'm going to ask you two more questions.
Oh, you go for the questions
All
either
right,
or.
cool. All right, cool. So I'll do it in this way. One, let us know how we can continue down the journey with you. All right.
Okay.
Let's start with that, and I'll hit you with the last thing.
Okay. So I am the planner consulting on Instagram. I spend majority of my time on there. On LinkedIn, I am Sharon Lewis Ruff. And then on so far as email, I am Sharon SHARON at theplannerconsulting.com. That's my direct email.
Perfect, perfect. Outliers get in touch. Let's keep this journey going. Sharon, what was one of your insights from today's conversation? Like something that you're going to leave here that you're going to be continue to build on for yourself? And if the answer is I didn't have an insight, that's also fine.
Yeah, so the insight that I got from this was evolution, like how much I've evolved. Because honestly, I'm more of a behind the scenes person. I will very much push you up front and being the back, supporting you, cheering you on. And so just hearing your questions and then also thinking about my journey as an entrepreneur is evolution. And I actually have the opportunity to share this with someone, to help them get through, and then also to be able to coach somebody into the space that they need to be in.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
thank you for that. Here, we're going to end off here. Whenever I have one person, I like to have what I call the time capsule question, and it's a simple question that goes like this: um, Imagine leaving a message today for your future Sharon to listen to 10 years down the line. If it helps you to do seven because you're already thinking seven, all right, I'll let that go through. But what's a message that you want to leave for yourself to remind yourself of in 10 years?
You did it.
Lovely. And that's it. Like it's just that simple. Sharon, thank you for being awesome. Thank you for living the life you live, and thank you for bringing all of you to this conversation. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I'm looking forward to everything that continues to grow on from here.
Thank you so much. And thank you, everyone that is listening. I appreciate you all.
Yeah, definitely. All right, outliers. Remember, be you on purpose. Journey on.